समाज सेवी और दार्शनिक स्वामी शिवानंद पर तैयार किया गया दूरदर्शन वृत्तचित्र अ मैन एंड हिज विजन।
शैलराजो महारण्ये तपस्वी शरणं परम् शङ्करश्वसुरो नाम्ना हिमवानिति विश्रुतः महाप्रश्रवणोपेतो बहुकन्वरमूर्धरः अस्योत्तरस्यां दिशि देवतात्मा हिमालयो नाम नगाधिराजः पूर्वापरौ तोयनिधीरगायः स्थितः पृथिव्या इवमानदण्डः धातोत्कला वरुणो न्यासो वरेण्य कुशलप्रयोगः क्षणे क्षणे नूतनतान्दधानो हिमालयोऽसौ जवतान्नदेशः आमेखलं सञ्चरताङ्घनानां छायामभक्तानुगतानिषेव्य उद्वेजिता वृष्टिभिराश्रयन्ते शृङ्गान्यस्यातपवन्ति सिद्धाः
The call of the Himalayas is the call of the spirit. There is something in the very atmosphere here that thrills. From time immemorial, from the days of Vyas and Vashisht to the present, poets, painters, artists and spiritual seekers from both east and west have responded to this call of the Himalayas. Numerous spiritual seekers have sought shelter in the solitude of these mountains. One such was Swami Sivananda. Who was Sivananda?
Gurudev Swami Shivananda Maharaj was a great lover of mankind. He was a great friend of humanity. And he was a great Desha-premi and a premi of Bharatiya Sanskriti. So his main message to modern mankind today in this disturbed 20th century was the message of our ancient darshan, that which said, man, essentially you are divine. You are not merely a human earth creature. You have got within you potential for wonderful divinity, qualities full of mercy and kindness and purity and knowledge and parobakar bhav and wisdom, satyam, jnanam, anandam, brahma. And therefore, life is a rare chance given to you in order to awaken this hidden and slumbering divinity within you. and make your life a glorious, resplendent manifestation of this inner, hidden, divine higher self of yours. He used to say,
Thou art divine. Live up to it. Feel and realize thy divine nature. Thou art the master of your destiny. Do not be discouraged when sorrows, difficulties and tribulations manifest in the daily battle of life. Draw up courage and spiritual strength from within. There is a vast inexhaustible magazine of power and knowledge within. Learn the ways to tap the source. Dive deep within. Sink down. Plunge in the sacred waters of immortality. The holy Triveni within. You will be quite refreshed, renovated and vivified when you go to the divine source and realize, I am the immortal self or Atman. Hey Swami, dear immortal self, be bold, be cheerful, though you are down and out, though you have nothing to eat, though you are clad in rags. The essential nature is such gone, existence absolute, knowledge absolute and bliss absolute. This outer cloak, this mortal physical sheath, is an illusory Maya production. Smile, whistle, laugh, jump, dance in joy and ecstasy. Sing Om Om Om, Ram Ram Ram, Sham Sham Sham, Shivoham Shivoham Shivoham, Soham Soham Soham. Come out of this cage of flesh. Thou art not this perishable body. Thou art the immortal self of Atman. Thou art sexless Atman. Thou art the son of king of kings, an emperor of emperors, Brahma the punishes the Atman who dwells in the chambers of your heart, Hridaya Guha. Act as such, feel as such, claim your birthright now from this very second. Feel as such, recognize, realize, not for tomorrow or the day after, but right now from this very second. Tattvamasi, thou art that one, Naranjan, thou art immortal self or Atman.
100 years ago, a boy was born in the far south of India in Pattamade, a small village set in the midst of green paddy fields and lush plantain groves. The family astrologer predicted that the child born under the star Bharani would rule the Dharani. The family in which the child was born traced its lineage to Appaya Dikshitar, the famous saint scholar of the 16th century. The parents, Vengu Iyer and Parvati Ammal, named him Kuppuswami. Kuppuswami studied in Pattamade and Ettayapuram, where his father was employed in the palace. Even as a boy, Kuppuswami displayed spiritual tendencies. From school, Kuppuswami went to the SPG college in Tiruchirappalli. Even at that age, he displayed a desire to help. This led him to the Tanjore Medical College. Dr. Kuppuswami was a handsome youth. Soon he started a health magazine called Ambrosia, but after 4 years sailed to Malaya in search of greener pasture. In Malaya, Kuppuswami worked as a doctor in the rubber estates and later in Johor Bahru. Spiritual tendencies which were latent in him even in his childhood now became more manifest. A stage came in his thinking when he was possessed by an irrepressible urge to find the truth of things, to find the meaning behind life. At the height of his career and material affluence, he gave up his job and left the shores of Malaya in quest of truth. Kuppuswami now headed straight for Kashi with the one thought in his mind: I must realize God now. In Kashi, he poured his heart out to Lord Vishwanath, the Lord of the universe. Kuppuswami shivered in the North Indian winter, and the Good Samaritan gave him a blanket and bought him a ticket to Pandharpur. At Pandharpur, the doctor distributed the few coins he had to the poor and surrendered himself totally to the mercy of the Lord. he became a parivrajaka, a wandering mendicant. Kupaswami wandered thus in the scorching heat of the Maharashtra countryside and in the Vindhyas. Months passed before God guided him to Rishikesh, where one Swami Vishwananda initiated him into sannyas. Dr. Kupaswami now became Swami Sivananda Saraswati. It was on the 1st of June 1924. Kupaswami was 36 then. He had taken the spiritual plunge, never to look back again. Rishikesh is a small township of anchorites and recluses, silent hermits and meditative monks. A little distance from here spreads the valley of Munikireti, where flows the sacred Ganga. On the opposite side is located the sprawling Swargashram, to which place Swami Shivananda moved not long after his initiation into sannyas. Here he was horrified to notice the condition of the sadhus nearby. Most of them were illiterate, undernourished and diseased. They were leading aimless lives. Shivananda tried to serve them, tried to educate them, give them a direction in their lives. Side by side with this seva, Swami Shivananda kept up his personal sadhana. He lived every moment to spiritual purpose. He roamed in the jungle, singing and chanting the Lord's names, contemplating on the mystery of God and His creation. The Swargashram authorities gave Swamiji a kutir to stay in and provided him bhiksha. He loved the Ganga and sat on its bank gazing into the eternal flow of the limpid waters. Ganga nourished him. Ganga comforted him. Ganga taught him the truths of the Upanishads. In the afternoon, the young monk crossed the river by boat and came down to the Ramashram library on the right bank of the river and read voraciously, taking notes all the time. In the flood season, when the boats stopped plying, Shivananda walked the long distance via the Lakshman Jhula bridge, but he never once missed his reading. In between, in the company of fellow Mahatmas, Swamiji went on pilgrimage to many holy places, including Kailas Mansarovar. I love the Ganga and the Himalayas. Ganga is my mother divine. The Himalayas is my father divine. They inspire and guide me, says the master, who more than anyone else was responsible for making Rishikesh and yoga familiar to the 4 continents. In those meditations, Swamiji churned his own soul. Experiences were many. And one day, someday, thought expired into experience, and truth became manifest. Visitors to Shivananda's Swargashram Kutir now began to increase in number, and Swamiji moved to the right bank of the river along with a few disciples. An ashram slowly grew round him. To give it shape and to serve the public in a more methodical manner, Swami Shivananda founded the Divine Life Society in 1936. Today, half a century later, the society has branches almost all over the world, spreading Swami Shivananda's gospel of selfless service and cosmic love. Throughout the 30s, Shivananda toured various places in India, spreading Kirtan Bhakti, giving spiritual discourses and training people in Yogasana and Pranayama. he sang and danced his way into the hearts of millions of bhaktas. He organized Sankirtan Sammelans, Akhanda Kirtan, Lorry Kirtan, Boat Kirtan, Kirtan on elephant back. Swamiji's contribution to the revival of the Sankirtan movement in India was phenomenal. The temple is the heart of the institution. The presiding deity here is Lord Vishwanath. The beautiful Shiva Lingam seems to proclaim that God is one. Right behind is Murali Manohar, exquisitely carved in black stone. Krishna was Sivananda's Ishta Devata. Devi, whom Sivananda loved to call Parashakti Maharani. And last but not least, Ganesh. All the idols here was consecrated by the master himself, and traditional worship is conducted thrice daily. The well-stocked library is one of the service wings of the Divine Life Society. By personal experience during his days of tapasya, Swamiji found that the spiritual seeker should be freed from the bother of begging for food, good books and medical aid. When he founded the Divine Life Society, he made sure that he started a good library. The printing press is the nerve center of Sivananda's mission. If enough money does not flow in, I will shut down the kitchen and take bhiksha outside, but the press must go on. That was Swamiji's mission. Dissemination of spiritual knowledge was a passion with him. It cut at ignorance, the root of human misery. Thanks to Sivananda, the highest Vedic knowledge is today available in the simplest language to everyone, everywhere. The Yoga Vedanta Forest Academy is a training wing of the society. Regular classes are held here and training is given the theory and practice of yoga and Vedanta. Both resident monks and visiting professors conduct the classes, and emphasis is laid on the integrated development of body, mind and soul. Run on the lines of the ancient Gurukula, the teachers here train students as much by personal example as by precept. It was not unusual for Swami Sivananda, a chancellor of the academy, to supervise the yoga classes personally. Swamiji believed that sound health was imperative for sadhana. The Sivananda Charitable Hospital, started as a dispensary in a humble way by Swamiji, has expanded over the years. Medical camps by visiting specialists is a normal feature here. The hospital, like the other departments of the institution, is the outcome of Sivananda's thirst to serve people. Manned by qualified doctors, headed by Dr. Devaki Kuti, it is a boon to the entire neighborhood.
Samadhi will come by itself without any effort for one who is solely absorbed in service when his heart is purified. Service is worship of the Lord. Never forget this.
The society runs 3 leper colonies. The lepers were as dear to Swami Sivananda as the Pandit and the priest. Are not their flesh and blood the same as our own? Does not the Lord pervade the lepers also? And the master went on to ask one stunning question. What is the caste of the Lord? Can anyone answer that? In the dining hall or Annakshetra, hundreds of resident inmates, visitors, sadhus and the poor are fed thrice a day round the year. Swamiji advises spiritual aspirants to plunge into selfless service. Service requires energy. Food supplies that energy.
To do great work, a person also should be great in himself. Great achievements are the outcome of a great being. This is something which an enthusiast in the field of social activity may overlook, forgetting the essentials of life, namely the success of any adventure depends upon the extent one is in a state of at-one-ment with the permanent values of life. This is the meditational background, the spiritual foundation of this humanitarian institution, the Divine Life Society, which is an expanded form of the vast vision of Swami Sivananda, a Superman in himself.
There is something dearer than wealth. There is something dearer than your wife. There is something dearer than your children. There is something dearer than your life itself. That dearest something is thy own self, Atma, inner ruler, Antaryamin, immortal, Amritam. This immortal self can be realized by incessant practice of meditation.
In 1950, Swami Sivananda set out on a 2-month tour of India and Ceylon to preach and teach, to serve and love, to console, comfort and cheer, to bring new hope into the lives of millions. In his own words, he bathed and bathed again in the ocean of the multitude's devotion to the Lord. Sivananda's special interest in the younger generation made him visit 8 universities and 25 other educational institutions during his brief tour of 2 months. Here is the small kutir where lived Swami Sivananda for well nigh 30 years. Here is Swamiji's writing desk. He wrote religiously at a fixed time every day. Swamiji's coat, clothes, shoes. Sivananda had hardly any possession to call his own. The puja room. In one of his poems, the master reveals indirectly that Lord Krishna had given him darshan and commanded him to spread kirtan bhakti, which of course he carried out most ably. Swami Sivananda merged with the cosmic in 1963. The holy Samadhi shrine is where his mortal frame is interred. The place is spiritually vibrant and is holy beyond compare. It serves as a focal point for the devotees to concentrate upon. Man-made barriers of caste and creed, language and religion, color and sex just don't exist here. Here, all are equal. All are children of the Lord. They sit as one in the satsang. They pray as one in the temple. there is total harmony, total unity, total freedom. The spirit of Sivananda lives on still.
There are some popular misconceptions about the life spiritual. One is that religion is for retired people. Swami Sivananda says, no. Youth is the period for yoga abhyas. He stresses physical fitness. He says the body is the chariot of the soul. Keep it strong and healthy and do the maximum service to the world. Service is worship. Some people say, we are householders. What can we do? Wrong again. Divine life is as much for the man with wife and children as for the sannyasi. In his view, marriage is a sacrament and grihasthasrama is a strict life of selfless service, of dharma pure and simple, and all that is good and all that is helpful to humanity. The life of an ideal householder is as difficult as the life of an ideal sannyasi. Both are conducive to mukti. Then there is this last idea that spiritual life and worldly life are two separate things, far from the truth. Swamiji Maharaj says that man is spirit residing in the body and his life is nothing if it's not spiritual. Modern man fails to grasp this point, and Sivananda tells him, give the spiritual orientation to life itself.
Feel that the whole world is your body, your own home. Melt and destroy all barriers that separate man from man. Idea of superiority is ignorance or delusion. Isha Vasimidam Sarvam. Develop Vishwaprem, all-embracing, all-inclusive love. Unite with all. Separation is death. Unity is eternal life. The whole world is Vishwabrindavan. Feel that this body is a moving temple of God. Wherever you are, whether at home, office, know you are in the temple of God. Every work is an offering unto the Lord. Feel that all beings are images of God. Transmute every work into yoga or an offering unto the Lord. Have akarta, sakshi bhav if you are a student of Vedanta. Have nirvita bhav if you are an aspirant in the path of bhakti. Feel that God works through your hands, that one power works through all hands, sees through all eyes, hears through all ears. You will become a changed being. You will have a new angle of vision. You will enjoy the highest peace and bliss.
If there is any one impact, one indelible impression, which my nearly 20 years of constant close association with him has left in my heart regarding Swami Sivananda Maharaj, my beloved Guru, it is that I saw in him, in the entire range of my life and its experience, I saw in him an individual who was absolutely devoid of the least vestige or trace of selfishness. His whole personality was one mass of selfless desire to make other people happy. Day and night, with every breath, with every action, every moment of his life, he lived only for one thing. He was always thinking how I can make others happy, how I can make people get happiness, go beyond sorrow, find their own happiness, and in what way, as long as I live, every day I can fill the day with such actions that can benefit humanity around me. He lived for, he had not the least sense of selfishness. He never had the wildest, even the wildest dreams. He never could think, what can I have or what can I get? His one idea was, what can I give? What can I bring to people? What can I do to make people happy? That is something very extraordinary, rare I have seen in him. And that is something which will live with me as long as I am alive.
Swami Sivananda comes to us with the eternal message of the freedom of the spirit. It was his thesis that the different religions do not contradict, but supplement one another. Swamiji's concept of Hinduism was something very lofty. This holy man was not narrow or bigoted. The divine life propounded by the Swami has no creed of its own, but it represents the essence of all creeds. Sivananda was quite the antithesis of the general conception of sagehood and sannyas. He was a recluse and reformer, philosopher and humanitarian. He was a beautiful synthesis of the quiet wisdom of the East and the active dynamism of the West. It is hard to categorize him. All that can be said is, he was a universal man with a universal vision.